Hey GenderqueerChat, it's Matt, and this week's topic is how does your gender factor into your future plans? So first thing I should mention is at this stage in my life I don't have a hell of a lot of particularly tangible, useful plans for the future. I've been going through a bit of a change in circumstances and life kind of flipped on its head, and I don't think I'm quite at that stage where I have managed to concoct or formulate some decent new plans for the future, or have worked out how my gender would factor into these hypothetical, at this point non-existent plans. Having said that though, last week I recorded my first video in a while, and when I watched that back, at least to me, I had a sense that maybe I was coming off a bit more confident or sort of sure about the way that I was talking about gender and my experiences and my identity. Certainly more so than maybe the last few videos that I'd posted, and definitely more than the first few videos that I would have posted almost a year ago when I first started to be a part of the channel. So I was sort of thinking about why this would be, and I guess I came to the conclusion that at this point in time, despite any other kind of craziness that's going on, like I actually feel the most comfortable and secure and confident in my gender identity, genderqueer identity that I ever really have, which is a really good thing, of course. So like most people, I assume, I went through quite a long period of time where I was really actively thinking about gender, and it was a whole big bunch of crazy, and everything got tangled in and got really messy, and it was very confusing, and was really quite a difficult and trying time. I really went through a stage where I would think about gender all the time. So the first thing I'd think about when I woke up would be gender. The last thing I'd think about before I went to sleep, gender, and would practically be thinking about gender and my gender and what that meant for me and how the fuck did I fit in and what the hell was I going to do, pretty much 24/7. By the time I'd sort of come onto the channel as a contributor, I think I was in a better place, was feeling a lot more confident with my identity and more settled, and I think being a part of the channel gave me the opportunity to talk about and think about and feel through my gender and associated issues in a more constructive or productive format, and let me focus rather than dealing with this deranged, scrambled gender mess that had been in my head for a couple of years beforehand. But then again now, like, I'm feeling even more comfortable and confident with my identity and feeling in a really, really great place. So in regards to the future, I guess I'd like to see that continue. So I'd like to think that while my gender will probably continue to evolve and grow and change, and that I'm certainly not done in thinking about gender or how that all fits in, but I'm hoping that it's a good indicator that at least I'll move into the future through different aspects of my life, like work, friendship, relationships, whatever, in a much more solid and cohesive way, and hopefully my gender will start to work with me as opposed to against me, like it may have done over the last couple of years, and certainly probably pretty much through my entire life. So that's a good feeling. One actual plan that I am starting to formulate is that I'd really like to do some further study. I'm thinking about going to university and getting a degree or some kind of qualification in counselling. So I've always wanted to be a counsellor or a mediator or something like that, a social worker. And I actually went to uni previously, about 10 years ago, to do social work, because at the time I was doing lots of volunteer and community work and was dealing with a variety of programs from everywhere from like suicide prevention to running workshops for kids who were grieving because their parents had split up or had lost a parent or whatever. So I'd done lots of work in that field, and I really wanted to do social work because I thought I'd be good at that, and it would be a really good way of doing something in the community that would be giving something back and, you know, would be a worthwhile and beneficial kind of career and give you a good sense of self-satisfaction. For whatever reason though, I got distracted at uni and ended up studying something else, but I've always had this desire to take that further and get some qualifications and do it. So that's what I'm hoping I will do next year. The way that ties into gender is that if the opportunity arose, I'd really like to work with people in the capacity of a counsellor or whatever, people who might be experiencing their own difficulties with questioning their own gender identity, going through similar experiences that I may have gone through. And when I look at my own crazy time of how difficult it was, like when you start to unpack gender and work out your own gender and come to the conclusion that maybe the gender that people have been telling you you are isn't how you identify, a whole bunch of stuff gets drawn into it and it can get really tangled really quickly, and there's lots of new language and lots of new ideas and concepts, and yeah, for me personally, I didn't really realise there was even other people out there who identified like me, let alone know that there was any kind of support or places that you could go to help talk through or have someone listen or give you advice or whatever. So I'd very much like to sort of work in that capacity for people who may be going through similar things, and I think I'd probably be good at that, and because I've had my own experiences with questioning gender, then maybe I would have something to offer, even if it was just you know, an open ear, and yeah, hopefully that would be of benefit to someone some way down the track. So yeah, that's that's something that I'm planning to do for the future, and from a sort of gender perspective. But yeah, really I just want to move forward from here on in, and hopefully, as I said, my gender will be, or my sense of myself, my gender identity, my genderqueer identity, I can be a lot more comfortable with and confident with, and it can help propel me forwards rather than maybe holding me back or, you know, making me a bit reserved or hesitant to engage in different situations. Yeah, and I think that's the benefit of thinking about this stuff. You do learn more about yourself, become more comfortable with yourself, and hopefully can learn to operate as a more complete human being. So yeah, that's my plans for the future. That's all I got to say. So thank you. See you next week.